Thank
Perfect,
you
man.
for
I'm
that.
super excited. Yeah, dude, you've been absolutely crushing it. Missed the training the other day, but got so much good feedback. I know you brought so much value to that, and I'm looking forward to getting this one recorded and getting it out to agents that are kind of trying to get involved in a digital mortgage lead. So, Garrett, like when you got involved, where were you kind of in the business, and what kind of made you try or transition to a digital mortgage lead, like with working with Strong Point?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 4 years now. I started on age mailers, just I think like everybody for age mortgage leads. Uh,
Yep.
then I finally got enough to where I had got my own mortgage mailers for me. So then I started running brand new mortgage mailers. And then last year, it really started tanking where leads were not coming in. You go from 20, 30 a week to one or two a week. So I had to adapt last year. I was still getting enough that came in, but come November, December is really when I started to take a hit in my business. So I started dabbling with creating my own leads for final expense via Facebook. I had heard about Strong Point before, but I didn't really get into them. I had worked a few age Strong Points that my upline gave me. And then in January, and mind you, I was still in home all the way until December of 2023. So I'm still very new to telesales at this point. I feel I'm 10 months in. So January of 2024, I made a call to my upline in Dallas and told them I was coming out there, locking myself in the building, learning how to do these Strong Point Digital because they were killing it in that office. And I wanted to
Yeah.
figure out how to do this. So I bought a 50 pack Strong Points, no real experience in the digital mortgage game or telesales. And then from there, I just took in what was around me and put it to use. And from there, since January, this is the only lead I have ran.
Wow.
So even with my first batch, so don't get it twisted. Out of 50, I closed two. Okay.
Sure.
That is
Yeah.
not a good rate, but that was on me being new to the game. I was very late to telesales, you know.
Sure. 100%. You and me both. We kind of have the same line. I started 4 years ago as well. And same thing, started on age mortgage. And then right as also the market tanked for housing. And so the mailers, everything slowed down. And then that's when I started to work with Strong Point as well. Just trying to figure out like my first couple weeks were really slow, trying to figure out my process. And there wasn't a lot of us working the leads at the time either. So it's not like you'd ask a ton of people what they were doing. So kind of some trial and error and just kept getting better. So kind of tell me through like that early process. Like what was it like kind of developing your process and what did you change and or take away that kind of helped you like start to have that consistent success because you're crushing it right now.
Yeah, so that's a perfect question, and I think it has a lot to do with where I was headed in the first place. So I would actually treat these digital mortgage leads as if I were in home, and
Hmm.
I had to switch that. In home, I'm very assertive to the point, bam, 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 getting the client to buy in and done. I found out on the phone, I had to slow my process down a ton,
Okay.
ask more questions, and create more credibility. So one thing I did, I implemented in sending not only my digital business card, but my license for that state to the client. Okay.
Hmm.
So as soon as I got a client to answer, I'd verify a little bit of information. But like my third question in is, hey, is this a number I can text? And they say yes. I text them over my digital business card and my license for that state. The second part of that was building rapport, unlike I did in the house, to where it's very easy. You look around, you know what to talk about. Literally, you're just talking to these people, you see nothing. So um, I started asking about them a whole lot more than I was in home because everybody likes to talk about themselves. So I was getting into why they were looking for things, how many kids they have. Then I can strike up a conversation based on things they tell me to build some rapport there. So
Mm.
I found myself slowing down. My first few appointments that I sold probably took an hour to an hour and a half. It was a long process, and I would actually lose a few clients because it was taking me so long. So
Yeah.
what I did was shorten up my script, um, which we just discussed a little earlier. I don't really go off of a script. I freestyle most of it, but to me, a script is just for key points to make sure I stay on track with my word tracks and hit the right places at the right time. So once I shorten that up, and I open the door to building rapport and credibility within the very first few moments, I found myself starting to close more and more deals.
Mm,
So it took me till about February to get on track to where I am now, where it's kind of been a wash, rinse, and repeat. So
hmm.
after that 50 pack, I got another 50 pack. And to be honest with you, the funds were getting really low because I wasn't closing much. And so
Yeah.
I had to lock myself up in my office here. And we had just got a new office too, by the way. So I was by myself, still moving things. So it was really tough. So I was like, I need more time. I need to shorten this up. So I did that. And then I started rotating between 25 and 35 every single week and finding out that I was staying consistent at closing 10 out of 25 leads on an average, which is a pretty high close ratio.
Yeah.
And there is now where we stay in wash, rinse, and repeat. So I do the same thing over and over, 25 one week, 35 the next week, unless there's something that's coming up to where I know I need 50 to 100 because maybe I had a vacation. So just because I had a vacation don't mean I need to get less leads. I need to get more leads to catch up to be consistent. So I
Love
found
it.
myself doing the same things over and over, which building consistency in this business is key.
100%. Love it. Um, so with I think a lot of agents get down to the end of their presentation and they get to think about it. Is that something because they didn't build enough value? Is that something they're not doing on the front end? Where do you kind of see the agents make the mistakes where they keep getting that at the end and not people wanting to think about it or shop around or get more information?
Yeah, correct. So I hear this all the time. And the only advice I can give is in the front end. It has to mean more to them than it does at the end, because if you can build the value at the beginning, there's no reason you should get, I need to think about it. And
Okay.
so to be blunt about it, I ask just like that. If you said, hey, I need to think about it, I'd say, what is there to think about? Does it
Mm,
do everything you want it to do? Is it affordable like you said it was because it fits in your budget? What is there to think about when you don't even know if you can get approved for this in the first place? My job is simply to make sure you can get qualified, do the underwriting process, submit an application, but the insurance carrier ultimately makes the decision for you. So the most you can do is put in a request. Unfortunately, you can't get covered today unless you do get approved and pay today, which that's not happening because they have to do the underwriting process. And then from there, they kind of back down, you know.
hmm.
So if
Love it.
there's oh, I need to speak to my wife. Okay, well, when we first started, you didn't tell me we were alone or you were looking to put your wife on here. Or if they did, I'd be like, okay, so here's how we're going to talk to your wife. You get a month of free look. So we put in this request, make sure you can even get approved or qualified in the first place. Now you have something to really talk to her about, because if you get declined, then you're wasting your time talking to her about something you can't get. Is that fair enough for you? And then
Love
she'll
that.
say yes, and then we put it in. So as
Love that.
far
That's
as
good.
I need to shop around, well, Mike, I did that for you already. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a broker. I work for 20 to 30 different carriers with the mortgage protection or the health or life insurance, whatever we're shopping around for. I do that for you by going through my carriers, finding you the best bang for your buck, best benefits that you can qualify for, etc. So I did the shopping for you so you don't have to.
Mm, that's good. Um, and then with these, what are you doing to kind of pull the emotion throughout it to get them to like really uh like see the value in it?
That part's super easy, Mike. I thought you had something hard for me there.
I
Uh,
know.
luckily with Strong Point, they give us a beneficiary name, right?
Yep.
So all throughout the presentation, I'm not just saying your children, I'm saying their name. I'm saying their spouse's name. So I'm building up the questions. Is this important to cover your daughter, Mia, if something happens to you? Is this important to cover your spouse, Mary, if something happens to you? Do you want to leave them with this much, this much, this much, or zero? And I put that in my presentation, which we can go over too. I always say the word zero or show them to make them write it down. That really pulls at them. So you're going to really leave them with zero because something's better than nothing. So I use that beneficiary to my advantage the entire time, because I don't care who you are. This may be going off on a tangent. These clients filled out these requests or leads for us for a reason. It wasn't just
Hmm.
sitting around, even though they may say it, they were looking into it for a reason if they went as far as to filling it out. You're not,
Yeah.
it's not clickbait here. This is not a bait and switch for a steak dinner. This is telling them exactly what it is when they fill it out. Hold them accountable to what they filled out.
Love it. How do you feel? How do you find yourself doing that throughout it to like hold them accountable as far as like right from the get go? Are you asking them, hey, what was the reason why you filled it out, or what about the video attracted your attention? What are some of the probing questions you kind of ask right off the rip?
So to be honest with you with that, I'm not I'm assuming, to me, I'm being very assumptive that they already know what they filled out.
Hmm.
So it's like, hey Mike, this is Garrett. I'm calling you for that mortgage response that you filled out. You put your beneficiary as your spouse. It's my job to get that information over to you, and this is how it works. How are you doing today? Boom, boom, boom. It's not really, hey, did you fill this out? What, no, I already know why you filled it out. You put your beneficiary. So I'm being really direct and assertive at that point because I have all the arsenal here that they filled out for me. So I'm
Hmm.
just verifying the heck out of the lead, and then I'll start bringing that emotion out from them. But to me, this might sound weird, but I don't really validate anything of who I am while I'm talking to them until we get further down once they get my license, because you should know what you did unless you
Yeah.
have Alzheimer's or dementia, and now you're not getting qualified anyway, right?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I want to, they know what they did.
Yeah.
But you just have to remind them a little. Some clients are different than the others, or they could be busy. But hey, I have this, your email, your phone number, your state, your age, your beneficiary. I know you did this, so let's talk about it and see why. So
Yeah.
I assume, Mike, you fill this out because you want your spouse to keep their mortgage if something happens to you, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly what we're going to do for you today. And I always say that no matter what, this is what we're going to do for you today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, because you answer your phone, you're not busy.
Love it. Yeah. Let me ask you this before we get into your
Mhm.
presentation. I'd love to go over that too. How when the lead comes in, like what is your process to kind of working them? Do you let them sit a little bit? Are you contacting them, texting them right away? Like what's kind of your process to working the leads?
So I want to call them as soon as I can.
Okay.
Most of the time, to be honest, is the next day, unless something pops up while I'm sitting here. Because a lot of clients are scrolling as they're in bed on social media. So you get a lot, most of my leads come in from 8 o'clock to 2 in the morning, believe it or not, unless they're
Yeah.
older clients. So what I tend to do is separate my leads from 65 to 60, the
Okay.
ages, dial those in the morning because I know most of the time they're not working. They're either retired or they have more flexibility in a schedule. So I try to knock out my older clients in the morning first. Just like the one right before this meeting, the one I closed, she's 64 in Georgia. So she was not
Love it.
working. So anyway, I closed that deal down, but after noon, well, right at noon, most people go on lunch breaks. So that's when I can call younger people who may be working and set appointments if I need to. I try never to set an appointment. The most appointments I ever had in one week is like five. I don't set
Gotcha.
appointments. Everything's one call close. Um, but I call at lunch to see if I can get some answers. From there, I'm going to do back office work or do a few pitches, some that may be off or work nights instead of days. So you're able to talk to them during the day. But at 3 o'clock till about 6 is prime time for me for my older clients. So I'll start on the East Coast and work my way to Central Standard Time. But morning dial session is triple dial text, lunchtime triple dial text, and then my 3 p.m. to late to 6 is going to be triple dial text.
And what does that text sound like? The first kind of like the first go around.
Yeah, the first go round, I want to make sure that I have the right person and it gets their attention instead of like throwing a bunch at them. It's just a simple, hey, is this client's name? So, hey, is this Michael? And I leave it at that.
Love it.
I get, like I said, 40 to 50% more contact rate by just sending that text out. Now, after I tell them who I am, after they say yes or who's inquiring, who is this, yada, yada, I'll send them a text. Hey, this is Garrett Dewey. I was responding in regard to that mortgage protection response you sent in, and I give them the submission time and date yesterday at 7 p.m. It's my job to get the information over to you. You listed Artie as your beneficiary. In case of death or disability, this mortgage would get paid out for them. I'm available now, or I give them 3 times in the same day. So I'm available now, this time, or this time. What works better for you? And I send them my business card.
Love it.
So I'm not asking them when they're available. I'm telling them when I'm available, but at least giving them 3 times to be flexible.
Perfect.
Because
Love it.
if you ask somebody, will you be available tomorrow? Maybe.
Yeah,
This is the times, you know.
love it. No, it's really good. Yes, if you could take me kind of through your process from the time that you're doing like for example, you do mostly one call closes.
That's it.
Okay, so you're calling through, somebody answers. If you could kind of take me through that process.
Yeah. So as soon as a client's going to answer the phone, the first thing I'm going to do is verify the name. So, hey, is this Michael? Yeah.
Yes,
Perfect. Hey, Mike, this is Garrett. I was just calling to get in touch with you in regard to the mortgage protection response you sent in today. It was actually about 30 minutes ago. You listed your wife as the beneficiary. Once again, this is the type of coverage that pays off in the event of anything happening to you, so that mortgage gets paid off for you. That's what you were looking for, right?
yeah,
All right. I'm going to confirm a little bit of information here, Mike, that I have, and then we'll kind of go from there. Is this a number I can text?
yes, it is.
So what I do there, I'll send my business card, like I said, and my state license. I send both. And I will not talk to them until they verify they got it, because I want to make sure they've opened it. So hey Mike, I just heard your phone go off. You got that text message, right?
Yes,
All right. And on these strong point leads, they just verify the state. So what I do, hey Mike, I have you there in Georgia. That's correct.
that's correct.
Can you verify the address on file?
Yeah, 123 Main Street.
Perfect. And I have your age as 27. That's correct.
Yes,
Can you verify the date of birth on file?
7/30/95.
Perfect. Close enough, right? So
Yep, exactly.
the reason I do that, now I have their age, I mean their address and their date of birth where I'm filling in. So it's less questions I have to ask on the application to speed up the process. I'll
Love
just
it.
verify it, then type it in. All right. Next, I have your beneficiary as your wife. Can you go ahead and tell me her first name?
Yeah, Olivia.
Olivia, okay. And just just to assume here, you fill this out because you want to make sure that whatever you owe on that mortgage gets paid off in full so she can keep the house without coming out of pocket or using your assets, right?
Yes,
Perfect. Now, I have the outstanding loan balance between 250,000 and 500,000. Can you ballpark how much you owe on that loan?
320.
320,000. And I'm assuming that you have about 30 years on that loan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. And the monthly payments are between 1,000 and 3,000. Can you ballpark that monthly payment for me?
2,700.
2,700. All right.
Yep,
And I assume once again, that's with the escrow and insurance included, right?
that's correct.
All right, awesome. So my job's very simple. It goes threefold for you, Mike. Number one, my job is going to be to show you something that you can qualify for. Unfortunately, you can't commit to anything today or make any final decisions because you have to get qualified and you can't just purchase this. All right. Number
Hmm.
two, I want to show you something that if you do get qualified, you can afford. Because if you can't afford it today, it's kind of pointless of us talking because to be straight up blunt, if you can't afford it today, you can't afford it for 30 years.
Hmm.
Next, I want to show you something that you completely understand. So what I'll do, I'll get you to grab a pen and paper, Mike, whenever you're ready, and I want to go over a few things to go over how mortgage protection works. Is that fair enough?
That's fair.
All right, perfect. So Mike, now that you got your pen and paper, I want you to write down mortgage protection living benefits. Okay. Now, the living benefits come with mortgage protection if you can qualify. The next thing I want you to write down is equity protection. Okay. Write
Hmm.
that down for me. Once you got that, I'll kind of continue. So, first thing I want to go over is your health. Anything major, cancer, heart attack, stroke, ALS, Parkinson's, COPD, dementia, Alzheimer's, anything like that ever for you? I know you're
Never.
super young, but you can't assume these days. And
Right, right.
preventatives daily. Are you on anything like blood pressure, cholesterol, thyroid, antidepressant, pain med, diabetes meds,
Just medicine for asthma,
asthma? Okay, so that's an inhaler for you. And is that as needed or every day?
as needed.
Okay, perfect. Simple enough. All right. So just going off the medical, it looks like you can qualify for our mortgage protection plan. The non-medical questions are super uncomfortable, Mike, but I have to ask them. Any felonies in the last 10 years or any DWIs or moving violations in the past 3 years that would hinder your driver's license or anything?
No, nothing.
Perfect. All right. So what I'll get you to write down here is the loan amount of the 320,000 you owe.
Okay.
but I'm also going to give you three different options as well. Okay. Reason
Hmm.
being the mortgage protection, now that I know medically you should qualify, this is going to pay you in a few different ways. And I want to go over that. Okay. So the first thing I want you to write down is level.
Okay.
This means your premium will never decrease, your face amount or your coverage will never decrease in time. So what that means for you is your amortization of your loan is always going down, correct? You won't owe 320 tomorrow.
Right.
So with that being said, I like to give my clients a few different options because of that reason, being that this stays level. So if I need to explain more, I can, but if that makes sense for you, we continue, okay?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, perfect. So next, I want you to write down terminal, and I'll go over what that means with the client. Now, I want you
Okay.
to write down the word critical. Then I explain what that is to the client. Next, I want you to write down the word chronic and explain what that is to the client. And finally, I want you to write down death benefit. This one's important because this is going to pay Olivia in the event that something happens to you directly. It will not pay Mr. Cooper, Loan Depot, PennyMac, whoever your lender is. It will pay them. So they have the flexibility to do what they need to do with the mortgage. And once again, if you only owe 25,000 and it's paid the full 320, she's going to be able to keep 320,000 and just take that 25 and pay the mortgage off. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Awesome. So with that 320, I also wrote down 125,000 for half of the mortgage, but I also wrote down right in between there 250. Okay, so we have 320, 250, and 125. All right.
Okay.
Now, before I get these quotes over to you, let me ask you, you have anything that acts like life insurance or private life insurance, like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs, survivorship benefits, anything of that nature?
Just a life insurance policy.
Is that through work or private?
Private.
All right, perfect. Yeah, private's the way to go when it comes to life insurance, right? You know how much death benefit you have on that?
250.
250,000. So if
Yep.
I'm being blunt with you, you have a lot of life insurance. So once again, I'm gonna assume you want Olivia to keep your life insurance and not have to use it for the mortgage because you owe 320. That sounds about fair.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's exactly what this is going to do then. Now that 250,000, remind you, only pays you in death, okay, being it's a life insurance policy. So
Hmm.
what if, Mike, you get in an accident, we won't speak anything to existence, yesterday, didn't come home, or you're injured, you're in a hospital, guess what? You can't go to work anymore. Your life insurance won't pay out this will. That makes sense for you?
Yeah,
All right, awesome.
that makes
So
sense.
let me get these numbers over to you, Mike. So for the full 320 of the mortgage, for the basic mortgage protection plan with all the benefits, you'll be looking at $100 a month. Okay.
Okay.
Then for the half, the three quarters of the mortgage, sorry, you'd be looking at $75 a month. Okay.
Hmm.
And then last, the other number, the half the mortgage, the 125, you'll be looking at $50 a month.
Okay.
Okay. And last, this is a number I didn't tell you earlier, but I'll get you to write it down. That's zero. Can you write that premium down for me?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mike, tomorrow, if something were to happen to you, um, number one, it has to make sense for the budget, like we said, but it has to give you that peace of mind that you're going to leave Olivia in a great spot or yourself if you couldn't work. Out of all those options we wrote down, do you want to leave Olivia with 100,000, 250,000, 125,000, or you want to leave her with that zero? What makes the most sense for you?
Um, it's probably something I want to talk with her about.
Perfect. Does she work or she stays home?
Uh, she uh she works.
Okay, awesome. Have y'all talked about the mortgage protection before with each other?
Not really, no.
Okay, so you're taking it upon yourself as a good husband to make sure your wife's taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, you have to qualify for this. So, you can love everything I showed you today, Mike, but we still
Hmm.
have to put in a request to make sure you can get this because guess what? I don't approve you, the carrier does. So, all we do is put on that request to see if you can get this. Then you actually have something to talk to her about because if you don't qualify, there's nothing really to talk to her about. So, what I do is put in a request, make sure this fits in the budget, fits everything. You have a month of free look with all insurance policies. I don't care if it's for your car, your home, anything. That way you can go over it to make sure, number one, we can increase it, decrease it, keep it the same, or get rid of it. And number two, that you at least qualify and have something to talk to her about. That sounds fair for you?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So once again, I'll send all this over to you in a summary and a brochure when we wrap up, but let's put that request in.
Okay.
So I want to pause there. So Mike, throughout there, I don't know if you counted, but I did. You said yes about 10 to 12 times throughout that
Yeah.
whole thing I've been telling you.
Yep.
So all the questions I like to ask clients, I get them in a habit of saying yes.
Love it.
Okay. So that way,
Sold.
when it comes to that, even though you give me a rebuttal or an objection, I still find a way for you to say yes to make it make sense.
Love it. That's really
All
good.
right. So
Yeah.
from there, Mike, I jump into an application with the client. I get all the information I need. So if you want me to hit on, because a lot of people or a lot of new agents are uncomfortable asking for social, driver's license, and banking,
Okay.
which my
I agree.
presentation being so assertive and assumptive, it doesn't really, the way I structure it never really happens or really pops up as much as most people would think.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'd
for
love for you to
newer,
go through that.
yep. So for newer agents out there, get comfortable being uncomfortable, asking the questions that you are afraid of. Make it a good thing. So the way I lean into the first part for a driver's license is very easy. So hey Mike, so like I talked about to get qualified, we're gonna do that MVR, which is a motor vehicle record check. Make sure, I'm not saying you have DWIs, they need to make sure for that, okay? So go ahead with that driver's license number so we can do that MVR check.
Okay.
And so
One.
the client,
Yeah.
yep, go ahead.
Yeah. 134777.
Perfect. And that's in the state of Georgia, right?
Correct.
All right, awesome. All right, so I'll get through all of that. So, Mike, before we get started, the next section here is going to be the medical questions. So, this is everything that's on your record through the MIB. That is the Medical Information Bureau. Now, Mike, are you familiar with HIPAA?
Yes.
Okay. So all that means is they won't tell me anything that's on your record or disclose information that they shouldn't to me, but they will take a look into the MIB report, what your doctor puts down to make sure you can qualify medically over the things we went over, the cancers, the heart attacks, any medications. That sounds fair for you?
Yes.
All right, go ahead with that social so I can do that medical check.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect. I like that 10 on the end instead of 1-0. So that sounds good there, Mike. So we're going to get that going and processing right now, and
Okay.
then we'll wrap up beneficiaries, all that good stuff. So, hey, we're on the final stages here, Mike. Before we close out everything here, do you want to get your documents for review right now via text message or email?
Email.
All right. So I'm about to text you over these documents for review, and we'll wrap up in 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, last section here, Mike. If you were to qualify today, who is the bank you want to put on file to make payments to the company?
Chase Bank.
Chase Bank. So at this point, Mike, what I do on my phone, I'll Google Chase Bank in Georgia, get a
Mhm.
routing number, and then I confirm it to the client. So they know I'll confirm it to the client to create credibility to know that I know
Yep.
what it is. Okay. So Chase Bank is coming up as a routing of 0654 00137 in the state of Georgia. Does that sound correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So if you would have said, I don't know, let me look, that's a psychology part because now if I give them the numbers and they don't know offhand, they're going to pull out their app or their checkbook. So now I know what's in front of them. Okay.
Love it.
So with that being said, Mike, if you do get qualified, what day of the month is the best for you to make a payment?
The 15th.
15th. Okay, perfect. So like I said, you get a month of free look. So today is the 15th of October. Your payment is going to be automatic for you. And then from there, you have a month till November 15th. Now I need you to call me before or after if we need to increase, decrease, keep it the same, or get rid of it. Okay.
Okay.
So last question. On file, do you want to put a checking or a savings account?
Checking.
All right, go ahead with that number when you're ready.
Okay. 144444444.
All right. Mike, give me an objection for giving me a check. Hey, Mike, I need your number. Go ahead with your checking number.
I don't really like doing that over the phone. I don't really give that information out over the phone.
Thanks for sharing that with me, Mike. And I completely understand you don't know me. That's why I sent you my license for the state. So that way you can look me up in the Georgia Department of Insurance. But secondly, it's the most safest way between me and you to do business. Reason being, you can't purchase anything, Mike, with a routing and account number. Okay. So to be fair, you can't go to Walmart, forget your wallet tomorrow, or forget your wallet and try to purchase anything with a routing and account. So it's more dangerous to give a card number, um, calling in, getting pizza, if that sounds fair enough for you, than it is to confirm your bank. So just like we confirm your medical is you, they're going to verify that your bank is yours and you're not trying to get something for benefits for another individual. Okay. That
Okay.
sounds fair. So go
That's
ahead with
fair.
that number for me, Mike.
Okay. Love it.
So that's
Yeah.
how I do the objection on that part there.
Love it.
And from there, we submit an app.
It's gold.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Got about 2 minutes here left. You said there's something that you send at the end to the clients.
Correct.
It's kind
Thanks
of
for
recapping.
reminding me on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be, I think that's gold for agents.
So biggest thing at the end of your application is to, number one, just let your client know that you're going to be there for them at all times. Make yourself available. So, hey, Mike,
Hmm.
I know before we hang up, I want you to know this is my personal cell. Please save this number before we go anywhere because I want you to have that when I ring your phone, you know it's me, okay? And I'm saving yours as we speak. Second, I want you to write down the company's phone number. So it's going to be Kansas City Life 800-821-6164. That way you have your company on file as well. And then at the end of this, I'm going to send you over a policy summary, Mike. It's going to have everything we talked about today. Even though you have it via text message right now, you also have your application today. And
Okay.
last, I'm going to send you that brochure via email. So you and the wife now, because you wanted to talk to her, you have a lot to talk about, right? The
Yep.
premium. We're going to talk about the company, the benefits. You have all of that on file now. So what I need you to do is when I send that email, just reply that you received it. All right. And that way, when we wrap up, you know everything is the way you want it to be, and there's no secret surprises. Okay.
Love it.
Perfect. All
Yeah,
right. Thanks for your trusted business, Mike, and I look forward to working with you.
that's gold.
That's about the end of the call, and then I emailed them a policy summary. It's got the carrier's information, their beneficiary, their policy number if they have one yet. Um, it has the monthly amount, the draft date, how much money they're getting back, and when if they do a return of premium, and then what type of protection it is. So it says 100%. I write in mortgage protection, final expense, universal life, etc. And from there, it tells them that any other agent calls them and tells them that they don't have exactly what I told them they have. They are lying to please call me.
Love it. Yeah, so locking it down, building more credibility.
And it
Love it.
shows you on the back end that you care. You're not just getting a sale, going away, and you're never talking to them again. Oh, I'll also add in at the end of that, hey, Mike, you should get your policy in 7 to 10 business days when it comes in. If you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to call me. And if you need to be reminded of the benefits and everything, just make sure to give me a call and we'll go over that policy together.
Love it.
Yeah,
Awesome,
it's
man.
very
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has all been gold. I know your time's short today, so I really appreciate you pouring into the team and everything you've been doing for the digital mortgage leads. And a lot of people have been asking a ton of questions to you about the digital mortgage leads, and you've been blowing up. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. Thanks for having me, man. I look forward to doing some work together.
Yes, sir.